Welcome back to the channel, guys. Mr. H here for a Sonic the Hedgehog movie update. We are talking an interview with Jim Carrey, the man himself, playing Dr. Robotnik. For those that don't know, Sonic is going for a massive redesign, so much so that they've pushed the movie back, which is pretty unprecedented, to be perfectly honest. That's quite unheard of nowadays. Now, I've said from the outset we need to support the film simply because they're redesigning it, because I think that's amazing that they listen to everyone. But I know there's people that have their detractions from that. There's a few things to note here just before we get into the main piece of the story, is that the release date still seems to be up in the air. And I say that because I did a video last week or a week and a half ago now, which showed the movie just having removed the actual release date from their Twitter. It's still there, it's still gone. So before it said February 14th, now it just says February 2020. So you can see it in the banner headline there, just February, and then here, speeding into theatres, February 2020. So that still seems to have been, removed. No update on that, seemingly, at this point in time. But anyway, what we're going to look at now is an interview with IGN. And this is interesting for a few reasons, because he doesn't seem to be on board with the redesign, but also he doesn't seem to have dropped his, I don't know whether we can say ego, but his current mentality. If you don't know anything about this, Jim Carrey's current state of mind, you only need to go over to his Twitter to take a look. Unfortunately, because obviously, this is an actor who's a family favourite for most people who grew up in the 90s, so it's a shame, but it is what it is. So actor Jim Carrey, who plays Dr. Robotnik in the upcoming live-action Sonic the Hedgehog movie, has commented on what he calls the collective consciousness that led to filmmakers agreeing to redo the controversial CGI design for Sonic. Now, I think the redesign's a great idea. I really do. Do I think that everyone that wanted the redesign is going to go out and support the film? Probably not. Inevitably, they're not going to. I think that's obvious. But I still think to get those fans which were going to be watching it that were put off by it, a redesign is worthwhile. And I think as well, if you're looking at a movie which I'd imagine Sega is hoping that they get a sequel from this. I would really imagine so. If you're looking at a movie that they want a sequel from, a redesign's the way forward. Even if this movie doesn't make profit, if they choose to then make a sequel from it, you've curried good favour with people. You've got good faith. It's good faith marketing, right? So I think that's important. I can see the reasons why some people don't like the idea of doing a redesign. And I can absolutely see that this may prove to be make or break for the film anyway, because the amount of money they're going to spend on this redesign will be in the, presumably the tens of millions. So I can see the point of collective consciousness, but I still think it's a good idea. Now, Carrey was at the annual Television Critics Association meeting to discuss the second season of his Showtime series, Kidding. There, he was asked what he thought about the way social media led to the makers behind the upcoming live-action Sonic movie to change the controversial design of Sonic. Now, he said, and this is where I just think he's still a bit off the rails, and we'll touch on that in a minute, because a lot of people, I know that's going to offend a lot of people, but we'll touch on it in a second. I don't know quite how I feel about the audience being in on the creation of it while it's happening, Carrey says. So, we'll have to see what that entails, because sometimes you find that the collective consciousness decides it wants something, and then, when it gets it, it goes, okay, I just wanted it, I didn't care about it, I just jumped on the bandwagon, or whatever. Now, I can see that. I can see his argument. But look, we're not exactly in on the redesign, are we? We've expressed our universal distaste for the incredibly uncanny valley design of Sonic, which, you can see here. It doesn't even take... I will play this. Well, I would play this, but the IGN play is terrible, so we're not going to play it. It's an atrocious design. It's really, really bad. It's not good at all. It's personal opinion and everything, but it's a very strange design choice. It's essentially like a humanoid hedgehog, when this is already confirmed to have been from another dimensional universe or whatever like that. So the fact that he's with this weird humanoid, it doesn't make any sense. It's just ridiculous. So I think the fact that the filmmakers listen to us is a good idea. There's nothing bad about that. The fact that he's talking about the collective consciousness deciding it wants something, I can completely see the argument that people do just go, oh, well, I want this. And then people don't go and watch it because they don't. And they do just jump on the bandwagon. But you take the likes of, say, The Last Jedi, for instance. Now, obviously, that was done and dusted until it came out, right? They were never going to change that movie. But, however, if we look at the way that the filmmakers and the studio have now been impacted by the negative reception of that film, it is a huge impact. Financially, it's massive. Toy sales for Star Wars are down. Some of the first in history, pretty much. It's insane. Or the most notable in history, as far as I'm aware. And the fan base is more alienated and split than ever. So even from the perspective of jumping on the bandwagon and people not going to see the movie and things like that, I can see that. But what Sega and I believe it's Paramount are doing here is very smart. It's good faith marketing. So yes, they're changing the design. Yes, inevitably, maybe even upwards of 50% of the people that mouthed off about the design probably won't go to watch this movie. I get that. But what they're doing here is currying good favour. People will be looking at this and going, yeah, good. I like what Sega are doing now. They're listening to us, even if they don't go see the movie. And Lucasfilm is a testament to that, and Disney. Absolutely a testament to that, of the wrong way to handle it. They got criticism for The Last Jedi, and I'm not saying either way whether it's justified or not. It's just a fact. They received massive criticism for The Last Jedi, and they have been hammered for it. Absolutely hammered for it. So much so that, the likes, I believe Solo came out afterwards, the likes of Solo didn't get, a massive drop off in what they were expecting. They're rethinking their entire film slate. And you've still got the likes of Rian Johnson over on Twitter backhanding critique away. Whereas you got Jeff Fowler, the director for Sonic, going, yeah, no, sorry, we fudged up. Super, super sorry. So I can see his points, but I disagree entirely. Because I think they're going to set themselves up for success further down the line. Now, he does go on to say some interesting bits and pieces. So he does say that Carrey says that as far as something like Sonic as a character, that's something people have a sense of ownership from their childhood. But then he goes on to say a rise of AI-powered deepfakes that create fake content using real actors' likeness has him feeling out of control of the process. Now, to me, it seems like he is still very much in his Jim and Andy days. Now, if you've not watched this movie, if you really like Jim Carrey, it's best that you don't watch this movie. This is a documentary of how abhorrent he was on the set of Jim and Andy. On the set of Man on the Moon. Now, he basically played Andy Kaufman, and he went around essentially pretending to be him. Honestly, I can't get into it. It's grotesque, some of the things that he did. He believed that he was channeling the spirit of Andy, speaking to the siblings, who obviously lost a beloved one. It's just insane. Like, it's actually insane levels. That's not normal behaviour by any stretch of the imagination. And, unfortunately, all of this, to me, just a random comment on AI-powered deepfakes. He's still very much in that frame of mind. And like I said at the start, just go over to his Twitter if you don't really know what I'm referring to. But those that are curious, watch Jim and Andy. It was on Netflix for a while. It is an eye-opener. It is really an eye-opener. Quite shockingly so. So just be prepared for you to hate Jim Carrey after that. And that's one of the resounding factors in Jim Carrey's decline. No one really wants, not the movie itself, but no one really wants to work with him anymore due to that sort of behaviour. And honestly, watch that movie, you can see why. So a few things. Completely disagree with Jim Carrey here. On a few things, I do agree that yes, there will be people that won't watch it, but I think the pros outweigh the cons there. I think this will be a good move for the studio, for Sega as well, a fledgling venture into movies. So look, I hand it on over to you. What do you think? Have you watched Jim and Andy? Is this something you're familiar with? Please do let me know down below in the comments. If you are new here, please do hit subscribe. You can stay up to date on the world of pop culture and movie news by turning the bell notifications on. You can support the channel by heading on over to my Patreon. That's a really, really big help. It enables me to do an awful lot more on the channel, buy new equipment and things. I mean, microphone, people know for a while now my sound has not been particularly great. So yeah, Patreon helps a lot. I also have Teespring underneath the video. You can go and check out all of that there. Also, just as a quick heads up to returning subscribers, I have a second channel, but I'm looking to repurpose it to a dog channel. And I know that sounds very, very strange, but my dog seems to be somewhat famous here on my channel. So I'm probably going to repurpose it for Jasper. So if you want to check that out, please do let me know down below in the comments, because the more and more people say, yeah, I'd like that, it pushes me to do it, because it's just in concept phase at the moment. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I rambled enough. I have been Mr. H. Take care.